I'm only 2 years into working my 9 to 5 job, and this is awful.
I don't care how broke I am. I will never want extra hours at a job.
I don't think people realize how dangerous it is to hate your job. Because if you hate it, that is 1/3 of your life that you will spend not enjoying your actual life.
Be honest with me. Do you actually like your job, or are you just surviving it? In 2025, more people than ever hate their 9 to 5, especially younger generations who feel stuck, burned out, and underpaid with nothing to show for it. The work hard and go to school promise isn't working anymore, and people are finally waking up. Today, we're breaking down why job dissatisfaction is exploding, what changed, and who this system is actually benefiting. And by the way, I'll be featuring some of your comments in today's episode, so if you want to be in the next video, definitely make sure to leave one down below.
I'm only 2 years into working my 9 to 5 job, and this is awful. So you're telling me I'm having the Sunday scaries every week to dread 5 days of my life, to then be rewarded with a little thrill on Friday, but then be so tired from working that I pass out at like 10 p.m. Live for Saturdays, love them, but really that is only one full day of fun, because Sunday, have a great Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon rolls around and I have the Sunday scaries and I'm dreading my life for the next 5 days. I went to college for 4 years to be stuck in this cycle. What? No, 2 years is enough. So I'm on TikTok and I'll be promoting products and posting my way out of this god-awful cycle. I cannot settle for a life of dread, especially if they want us to retire at 70 now.
Ugh.
No, I'm going to be using the internet because I see people making a fuck ton of money on here, and you can be making a fuck ton of money by creating digital products, selling those, and then promoting products that you didn't even make. So yeah, that's my plan. That's what I'm going to be doing to get me out of this god-awful cycle, because I cannot take another second of it. Happy Sunday, though.
The Sunday Scaries. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Anyways, I wanted to read a comment that somebody left on a previous episode talking about how Gen Z is just giving up. If you guys haven't seen that video, highly recommend you check it out. And if you want to get featured in the next episode, definitely make sure to drop a comment down below. Comparison is the thief of joy. I wonder why no one is happy. Yeah. It's also why everyone's broke, because of comparison. So everybody is unhappy and in tremendous amounts of debt because they can't stop comparing themselves to their neighbors and now to the internet, and it's just gotten so out of hand. I mean, kudos to her for at least waking up to it. I don't like have an issue with the want to do better. I think it's great. I really do, especially if you hate your job. I am all for it, but the problem is she's comparing herself to like influencers online and everything that she's seeing. And it's like, oh, these influencers just make a couple videos and they're making a ton of money. Yeah, there's a trade-off. Yeah, I guess I would be considered one of those content creators. It's not for everyone. It's very difficult, especially in today's influencer culture. You have to create content 24/7, new content. You have to regurgitate content constantly, all the time. And it's not for everyone. It is very time consuming, and I work 24/7. If that's something you're willing to trade for and do, by all means. But you also have no health insurance, and it's very expensive if you do decide to go that route, and so many other things. There's absolutely nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 or working for someone, but you shouldn't hate your job. If you're miserable at your job, you should quit and find another one. And we'll talk about the best possible way of doing so, because what I am learning is people can't. They're stuck. They're trapped at these jobs that they hate and that are making them miserable. And that's the problem at hand. And in today's video, I am going to dissect and lay out a roadmap to help anybody out there struggling at their current workplace. How do you gradually move forward, whether that is into another 9 to 5, another job, or into becoming a self-employed person. So if any of that sounds interesting to you guys, definitely stick around.
I'm one of those people where I don't care how broke I am. I will never want extra hours at a job. I will never cover for anyone. I really want to work as least as possible. Whenever bosses say, do you want extra hours, or like, do you want to work these days? Absolutely not. And I hate when they act like they're gifting it to me. Like, would you like more hours? That is like throw up to me. Absolutely. Like, I really would love the less hours. I would rather be extremely broke with free time than rich and working all the time. I really hate working, like hate. I think I'd be better off as like a farmer, or honestly like a landscaper. I think that I like that better because it's actual work.
Uh-huh. You say that now until you do landscaping and it's back-breaking, excruciating, and exhausting work. And then she'll have a reality check and probably really enjoy the 9-to-5 job she's currently working. Now, don't get me wrong. I was the same way growing up. When I used to work for somebody else, I did not want to work any more than I was supposed to. You should not put in more effort because, unfortunately, in today's world, you ain't going to get rewarded for it. You know how you're going to get rewarded? It's not going to be with more money. It's going to be with more work. I just want to live and do what I want. Yes, me too. So I'll give you a little backstory to my life. I went to college for marketing. Wasn't really a big fan of college. I went because my parents and grandparents, really, that was the thing. Go to school. They were teachers, so that's all they knew. Go to school, get a good job, get good grades, and everything else will fall into place. It didn't. I couldn't stand it. I just got all C's. I passed for them. Otherwise, I got very close to dropping out several times. Either way, I do think college is important in its own different way, and we'll go over that in other videos. But that led me into getting my first job as a marketing manager at an exotic car rental company. And as much as I loved the job and I loved the employees and the people there, I just didn't like to be told what to do. It's always been that way. And I just needed control, if that makes sense. So when it came to jobs like that, I didn't want to go above and beyond because I didn't want to be told what to do and I didn't want to be forced to do it. Now I work for myself and I'm practically doing double the hours. I would rather work double the hours, make 30 grand by myself, self-employed, than put in half the hours and make 60K working for somebody else being bossed around. That's just me. That's not for everyone. My fiance doesn't mind it, and she has fully optimized her 9-to-5 job where she works fully remote, makes a awesome salary, has very nice bosses, and she loves it. And there's a way to hack that. You can hack the 9-to-5 and make it rewarding. She doesn't like making her own decisions, being a boss, and that's okay. Look, you guys know I'm all about being frugal and finding different ways to save money. So I want to put you onto something new I've been using lately because it's one of those, why wasn't I doing this sooner things? And it's called Raise. So here's the deal. Raise gives you instant cash back on stuff you're already buying. That's the part that I like the most. It's not spend more to save more. It's literally just earning on the things I'd buy anyways. It takes like 10 seconds. So let's say I'm grabbing a coffee or ordering takeout. I just open Raise, pick the brand, enter what I'm spending, and boom, they generate a digital gift card instantly. I check out like normal, and the cash hits my Raise balance right away. So there's no more waiting for points, no weird rules, none of that. And it adds up way faster than I expected. You can use it for everyday stuff like groceries, date nights, even online shopping. It's pretty cool knowing I'm getting money back each time I use them instead of watching my money just disappear. Plus, Raise works with a ton of brands. Amazon, DoorDash, travel stuff, home improvement, you name it, they probably have it. And if you ever need a last minute gift, you can send digital gift cards instantly and you still get cash back for gifting, which is kind of wild. It's just one of those be the smart shopper without even trying type of apps. So if you want to start stacking rewards on things you're already buying, then check out Raise. You can start earning cash back today by scanning the QR code somewhere on the screen or by clicking the link in the description of today's video. So huge thanks again to Raise for sponsoring today's episode, and let's get back into the video.
I just want to let the people know that when you start working, you give up your freedom. Yeah, just let that sink in because I just realized that this fucking morning and had a mental breakdown. Oh, but guess what? Actually, doesn't matter what the fuck happens. It doesn't matter if you got no sleep. It doesn't matter if your fucking dog died. It doesn't matter if your mom got cancer. Bitch, you still have to go to work every single fucking day. And if you don't want to go to work, you can't just not show up. You can't, like, I actually have to ask my boss basically, like, okay, I have a day off. Like, what is this shit? Oh my God. Like, I'm actually about to lose my fucking grip on sanity because I just realized this shit. Like, I literally have no control whatsoever over my life at this point. And if I do want to have control, I have to quit. I have to quit my job if I want to take more than like a week off unannounced, you know, and go on a vacation. Because God forbid I enjoy my life as a 21-year-old sexy hot ass bitch. God forbid I want to do something else than sit at a fucking desk and no. So as I'm about to walk into work, I will flush these thoughts out into this video and let y'all know what the tea is. because that's the tea. And I feel like somebody should have told me this before I started working. Like, I graduated on a fucking Sunday, started working on Monday type shit. Nobody let me know, and now I'm doing this until I'm dead. So
yeah, that was, now that it's coming back to me, that was another big issue that I had when I did work for somebody else. I worked at a different field, different industry than other people, but taking time off was like, you weren't supposed to ask it. It was tough. And I didn't even feel comfortable asking to take time off for myself. There were really no breaks, but that's also just me. Like, I'm focus driven and I want to work. Even when I'm sick, I'm going to show up to work. That is just how I'm wired. So when it came time to actually having to take a day off, like even for like funerals and stuff like that, it just felt very uncomfortable to me to have to ask someone of higher authority than me whether I can do stuff for my own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, YOLO, we're only here for a certain amount of time. If I want to mourn someone's loss and go to their funeral, which again, it was fine. I got the time off. It was no big deal. There was no issue with my boss there, but it's more of the, like, just the thought of having to ask somebody else for permission for me to do something with my own life is very weird. And I wasn't a fan of it. So I busted my ass working 2 jobs, working at my current job at the time as a marketing manager, as well as starting my own business, YouTube, at the same time, until I was able to gradually move over onto that business that I was starting here. And it became my full-time job. That's a tip. That's how you do it. You don't want to go cold turkey and go all in. You can do that maybe. You can get away with that maybe when you're younger and you have less responsibilities, when you're in your 20s, early 20s. But as you get older, 30s, 40s, 50s, you can't do that. You can't quit. You have too much responsibility. A wife, children, bills, like you have things you have to pay for. So you can't just quit a job and move on to starting a side hustle or to start a business or to find another job. That's way too risky. It's better to have money in the bank and not stress over every bill than to have the latest iPhone. See, and this brings me into the next topic as to why so many people are miserable at their jobs. I understand the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and sometimes when you make that leap, it could suck. And it has. And I've seen many experiences and I've heard many stories from people that I know of that have made the leap. But it was only bad temporarily. And just as quickly as they set up finding that new job, they did the same thing while at that current job and found a better one. So sometimes you don't get lucky on the first shot, but it gets so much easier. But here's the thing. If you're in debt, everything becomes a standstill. You can't take time off. You also can't afford to get fired or anything else. You are practically owned by that job because you're stuck. You need the money to pay off your car, to pay off debt, to pay off credit cards. This is why it is so important to get out of debt, because you are essentially buying back your freedom to afford better jobs out there. If you have debt, you have to be working. You can't afford to take even just a couple of weeks or months off. And that's why it's scary when people get fired.
I've come to the conclusion that I don't want a job. And I know I have to have a job because I have debt and I have bills. So I think what I need is a part-time job. Because this going to work 5 days a week for 8 hours is just not for me.
And I'll tell you, there's definitely a mindset shift too. So when you are in debt and you have to work to pay off that debt that you don't need and shouldn't have, it's miserable. It sucks. But let me tell you, it gets better. Even the current job that you work at will get better if you are debt free, because once that debt is gone, you have no burden anymore, and you don't need to rely on this company. No longer are you in the negatives. You're in the positives, or you're neutral finally. So you now don't necessarily need to work at this job. And if you have an emergency fund saved up and they fire you or you want to quit, it's so much easier because you can afford the several months off to eventually find another job. You have a financial cushion. It's so outdated. This model was made when people were in factories and mills working jobs. There's no reason I need to drive in 5 days a week to sit at a computer for 8 hours a day. I can do the work from home in 3 or 4 hours. So yes, see, this I agree with. I 100% agree that schools and working 9 to 5s are 100% outdated industrial revolution style of working. We're in a digital revolution and we have not updated that workflow to it. And the issue, at least to the beginning, is because we're in that transition phase. And if you haven't realized, companies like Control, they have a manager, have the assistant manager walking around and watching your computers, hovering over you to make sure you're not on the phone. They like Control, these whatever, older generation, whatever you want to talk about. They don't want you to be home because guess what? If you're efficient, you could get your work done very quickly and do something else while you're doing it. Versus if you're at work, they want you to be given everything you have to this job. And it's ridiculous. If I can be efficient and get stuff done, why can't I reward myself and do a load of laundry at the same time? So slowly, hopefully, when the newer generation starts taking over these larger positions, we can adapt and optimize, at least at the bare minimum, hybrid jobs or remote jobs, because it is ridiculous. We have the ability to do, we're literally going to an office. You're driving 30, 40 an hour to a job to sit on a computer to do the same freaking work you can do at your house. And I understand there's security and there's safety problems with doing it at home, but we can secure that. The tech is out there to secure and make, it's not an excuse anymore, is basically what I'm saying here.
It's kind of crazy how everyone hates their job. Like, it doesn't matter who I talk to, I ask them what they do, and they immediately just sigh and are like, I don't know, man, it sucks. Doesn't matter the job. I can meet a fucking astronaut and be like, dude, how's that? That sounds amazing. And they'll be like, I mean, yeah, it's cool at first, but honestly, it's a lot of paperwork and like, my back hurts all the time. Like one time I met an OBGYN and I asked them what they did and they literally rolled their eyes and were like, I deliver babies. And I'm like, dude, what? No. I think it's because everyone thinks they're supposed to love their job, when in reality, you're supposed to hate your job less than all the other jobs. That's why I think you should do a work swap program with like an Uber Eats driver once a year for 2 weeks, like in the dead of winter in New York City. That'll make you love your job. Just delivering 2 Thanksgiving meals to a 6th floor walk up and getting 3 stars and no tip because you're 5 minutes late because you saw your best friend get T-boned by an Amazon truck. Like, after that, you'll love your job.
I agree. It's like, you don't need to love your job. That's okay. It just needs to be like tolerable to pay the bills. Nobody's expecting to wake up one day and love laying granite countertops. I'm sure that person, when they were younger, didn't aspire to be the best granite countertop installer. However, if it's tolerable and it pays the bills and you can make a lot of money and you can raise a family, and which is now a different debate, then it's fine. You just need to tolerate and enjoy it, I guess, and hate it less than other jobs. You know what I'm saying? If I'm never going to be able to buy a house, there's no point being exhausted on top of it. I've heard this from a guy I knew, and I've heard this a lot of times too. My generation, Gen Z, and I guess these younger generations too, maybe even millennials, have this mindset that it's like, well, if I'm never going to be able to afford a house, then why save for one? Why save at all? All these things that older generations got, they're just dreams. It's never going to happen now. So I might as well just YOLO it, spend all my money and not have a savings account. And I can understand it. It sucks, but I understand it. And unfortunately, you have to look past that because there are other reasons to save money. Being in debt is not good. It sucks. Being out of debt, having an emergency fund sets you up for so much more. For example, if you hate your job and you're not in debt and have an emergency fund, it's much easier to find another job. If you get fired from said job or they lay you off, which happens all the time, and you're in debt, you're screwed. You might go into more debt trying to stay afloat. However, if you have an emergency fund and no debt, the layoff is much easier to handle and absorb, and it makes the job hunting to the next one so much less stressful.
Hi! Welcome to HEB. How can I help you?
HEB?
Hi, how are you? Did you find everything okay? I'm good. Thanks for asking. Do you have any coupons?
I hate my job.
If you hate your job that much, just quit and work a different one.
I hate my job. I am literally crying at my desk 3 to 4 days out of the week. I feel guilty to speak about the fact that it's a great job, but no matter how good of a job it is not my purpose. It's not. And if you are a purpose-driven person with dreams and there's something that you want to do with your life, it does not matter where you sit if you know for sure that seat does not belong to you. And I am tired of crying at this desk. I'm tired of feeling anxiety. I'm tired of feeling like I'm so unhappy, you know? And I was talking to my therapist the other day and she's like, what do you want to do? And I'm just like, I want to teach women how to love themselves more. I want to show up for other moms and other women. I want to do monthly meetups. I want to do events. I want to travel. I want to, have this huge community that is growing, that's all about women showing up for themselves, and all the things, And she was like, so why don't you create a company? And I promise you, I started crying because I have a company. It's called Her Glow. And I've done the brunches and I've done the meetups, but Her Glow is not taking care of my bills. You know what I'm saying? And it can. I got to figure out what amount of money is going to help me leave my full-time job. And I'm tired of allowing fear to keep me stuck. I am deciding in this moment that I am going to be very shameless about plugging my dreams and my purpose and sharing it. And I am going to truly buy myself out of this misery. I owe that to myself. I owe it to the woman that I used to be. I owe it to the woman that I'm becoming. And I'm proud of myself already. And if you can relate to what I'm talking about, if you're at a job and you feel like, damn, I am not really living in my purpose, I'm hoping this is a sign for you to do what you know you're called to do, what God has placed on your heart. Because I'm telling you, when you get to the end of your life, you are going to have so much regret. You're going to feel like, damn, it was so many things I needed to do and I didn't do them, So hopefully this is your sign to keep going, because I am.
That's tough. And I get it, because you hear it all the time. And again, comparison is the thief of joy, because I bet you she sees online all these people doing what they love, going after their passion. But unfortunately, when reality sets in that it doesn't pay the bills, you have to figure out something else. And that's why I have this chart here, how to find your entrepreneurial sweet spot. Not only does this have to do with maybe starting your own business like she's trying to do, but also it's a reality check into what you're doing for your job. Now, I want to give you a quick backstory to myself on my pursuit of working and stuff like that. Prior to starting this YouTube channel, I had started another one. My passion is cars. I love cars. I love working on them, tinkering with them, creating car parts, all that stuff. So I started a YouTube channel about rebuilding cars, and it was doing okay. Problem was, it wasn't paying the bills. That's a problem. So I had to bootstrap it and give myself a deadline and say, hey, if this isn't paying me within the next year, if I'm not at least breaking even or making some money on this, I have to find something else. Cars are still my passion. And I still have that channel. I'll link it down in the description below, or I'll put a link to it up here. I still have this channel, but instead of it being my full-time pursuit, which is what I was doing, I had to put it on the back burner. And now every now and then when I have some time, I will record a video when I'm doing something and I post it on there. And it helps people. That's why I started the channel. But it wasn't paying the bills, so I had to pivot and find a new job or a new thing to pursue, which is this. It's different, but at its core, it is the same, and I'll explain why. Looking at this chart here, and this is what you guys need to think about. You have problem, payment, passion. So cars was my passion, but it wasn't really paying the bills, which is payment. That's an issue. We have to find the middle part, ESS, which I forget what that stands for. It was solving a problem. People, want to figure out how to work on their cars, and when it came to passion, I like to help people. I want to help people. Except teaching people at that moment how to fix their cars was not paying me enough to live affordably here. Well, I went back into the middle and said, hey, I still want to help people. Well, maybe I should pivot and start talking about how do I help people be financially free? How do I help people realize the marketing traps that are going on by these massive companies to essentially keep you stuck, keep you broke and keep you in debt, these predatorial companies. So that's what I've decided. Not only does it solve a problem, it helps you guys out. I'm passionate about helping people, and it's paying enough for me to pay my rent and save a little bit. So it's awesome. That's how you have to think about this when it comes to A, starting your own business, or B, finding a different job. It's not supposed to be fully passion. It has to be just enough for you to continue to tolerate it and do it, just enough for you to pay the bills, and just enough to problem solve.
I chronically do not care about my job. Okay? Like, not in a rebellious way, I just in a deeply spiritual, detached from this plane kind of way. I show up, I type things, I attend meetings, but mentally I'm watching a live feed of myself from the ceiling. Okay, every time someone says circle back, a piece of my soul just logs off. You know, I'm not even lazy. I don't care at a molecular level. Okay, my cells clock out before I do. Okay, they keep asking for passion. Bro, this is accounting, not Broadway. Okay, I'm not tapping my way through Q3 reports. Okay, my boss is like, well, we're a family here. That's great. Can I take a family nap? Okay, I care just enough to not get fired. Okay, that's the balance. Like, I'll hit the deadline, but don't ask me to smile while doing it. Okay, I'm not built for enthusiasm before noon. All right, some people wake up thinking about their goals. I wake up thinking, what's the least amount of effort I can exert without triggering an HR meeting? Okay, so yeah, I chronically do not care about my job. It's not burnout, it's clarity.
Here for the income, not for the outcome. Genius. Very well said. Employment feels like a humiliation ritual. It can at certain times. Like, I just want to go and work. I don't want to be friends with everybody. Leave me alone. I'm here for one reason: income, not the outcome of your business. Although that's hard. And if you find a job that you actually like and want to see rise and be successful, great for you. But most jobs, they don't care about you. They'll fire you in a heartbeat the second, profits start dropping.
I don't think people realize how dangerous it is to hate your job. Because if you hate it, that is 1/3 of your life that you will spend not enjoying your actual life. Which also means you're going to spend the rest of your waking hours, however many that might be, drained physically, mentally, emotionally, from having to do something for 8 to 10 hours that you just can't stand doing. So that's 2/3 of your life, and all your waking hours, except for a day and a half on the weekend, spent not enjoying life. When you lay it out like that, is it really surprising that people are having mental health issues, that people have addiction problems? No, actually, to me, it kind of makes sense. If there's one tip I can give anyone, especially young people out there: find a way to make a living where you don't hate your life during that process. You don't have to enjoy all of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to love it, but at least it doesn't make you hate yourself.
Correct.
For 8 to 10 hours a day, every day. For me, that meant no job. I'm not meant to work a job. Like, I refuse to work a job ever again. For other people, it means trying other industries and learning different skills until you come across something that really speaks to you.
If you hate your job, listen to me. I have a reminder for you. Let's pretend you spend the rest of your life climbing whatever corporate ladder you're on right now. When you're in your 70s or 80s and you're thinking back on your life and thinking about your career and all the things that you did and didn't do you really want to have to come to terms with the fact that you spent 30 or 40 years climbing a corporate ladder you didn't even give a shit about? I'm only saying this because I love you. You could be traveling the world right now. You could be fulfilling your literal lifelong dreams right now. You could be doing whatever you feel like doing every day right now. And you're wasting your life away because you keep talking yourself out of doing it. Quit.
Until you run out of money, go into tremendous amount of debt, file Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and end up couch surfing at your friends' houses. That's the problem when you take YOLO too far, but there is a balance here, like the previous guy was saying. You just need to find a job that's tolerable, and you can do that easier when you're out of debt. So if there's anything to take away, it's that chart, which is trying to find out that tolerable point. Some people, and I was too, they're like, follow your passion. Sometimes that doesn't lead you anywhere. It leads you broke. So find the middle point here that you enjoy. Find a job that you don't hate, that you just tolerate, and get out of debt because it makes it so much easier. But guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Make sure to drop a thumbs up, smash the like button if you like today's episode, drop a comment. And if you haven't seen my previous episodes on why Gen Z is giving up, definitely check it out right after this. Peace.